The Belizean diaspora are Belizean who are living in other countries. The reasons why most Belizeans migrated were due to natural disasters, joblessness, a poor economy, political victimization, escaping violence or study abroad. In the early days of the colony, British Hondurans moved to Central America, the Caribbean, North America and Europe, in search of better opportunities. In the early colonial days, a letter could take 3 to 6 months to reach family members. Most travel was by boat, therefore, communications with the diaspora was limited, if at all, and migration meant permanent loss for families. In the late 19th and early 20th century, during the building of the Panama Canal, hundreds of British Hondurans moved to Panama in search of job opportunities, and families who were left behind never heard from them again. During World War II, Great Britain reached out to her colonies to assist in her war efforts. Many who left remained in Europe. In the 1950s, mostly British Honduran men migrated to Guatemala, Honduras and other Central American countries to work for United Fruit Company. United Fruit Company was Central America's largest employer. They owned millions of acres of land to produce banana, they built hundreds of miles of railroads, and created a vast distribution of banana throughout the world. United Fruit Company also controlled the political landscape, and influenced labor laws which lead to more conflicts and wars, leading to more migration throughout Central America. The 1961 Category 5 Hurricane Hattie started the largest migration of Afro-Belizeans to the United States and Canada. The majority migrated to California, Illinois, New York, Texas and Florida. It was reported that in the aftermath of the hurricane, unemployment was around 60%, poverty was high, living conditions were poor, and the United States welcomed people from British colonies, viewed as less hostile than African Americans who were struggling for civil rights. During this economic migration, many Belizeans left families behind and worked so they could maintain families back home. Communications improved by the 1960s and 1970s, with letters taking weeks instead of months, commercial flights to Belize and telephones in homes. The U.S. Census of 2010 identified 40,000 plus born Belizeans legally residing in the United States, not accounting for Belizeans who have not been able to normalize their status. Additionally, there are scores of Belizean registered entities with a purpose to create social and financial impact for Belizeans at home. This impact has reportedly translated into 10% of Belize's economic earnings. According to Trading Economics, remittances in Belize averaged $62.41 million United States dollars from 2001 through 2017, reaching an all-time high of $87.9 million United States dollars in 2017. Remittances do not account for medical missions, charity groups, boxes and parcels that pour in on a daily basis via the post office or Belizean-owned shipping companies. The true economic impact may be double or maybe 10 times what is actually measured. Even with Belizeans abroad contributing significantly to the financial well-being and welfare of the country of Belize, no official census or study has been undertaken by the Belizean government to account for the population of Belizeans living abroad, and no attempt to harness the economic and brain power, and no official diaspora representative in Belize. Since the 1970s, the governments and politicians of Belize have entered into a duplicitous relationship with Belizeans who live abroad. During electioneering, politicians visit Belizeans living abroad, hoping to raise funds while making promises to connect bridges, but once in power they know the diaspora is not cohesive, nor a monolithic group, and so many promises go unfulfilled. A select few in the diaspora, however, are offered financial benefits or awarded jobs, contracts or access, but for most Belizeans living abroad their political rights are unaddressed. The government keeps putting a carrot in front of Belizeans living abroad with no plan to deliver. In the 1980s through the years 2000, several events occurred. Belize started to receive a high influx of immigrants, refugees from Central America fleeing civil wars, retired Americans and Europeans and Asian immigrants looking for a second citizenship. Belize started an offshore sector, economic citizenship program and a retirement program to attract wealthy immigrants. foreign revenue was the justification to offer Belizean citizenship up for sale. These new immigrants brought in votes, as in the case of Central American immigrants, dark money and financial connections, as in the case of economic citizens, and retirement money, as in the case of retirees. The demographics, political landscape and the focus of politicians changed as they found new revenue sources. It is not clear, however, if the majority of these funds benefited the economy of Belize, or if these funds ever made it into the coffers of the treasury. The need for the diaspora money dissipated, and so has the political will to address the citizenship disenfranchisement. Politicians are now able to raise millions of dollars by trading favors with their new money sources, and without much local oversight. They can win elections with their new voting blocs. The billions of dollars circulating through the Belize economy have caught the attention of US and European regulators. Today the offshore and banking sectors are under threat with de-risking, and foreign corresponding banks have withdrawn business from Belize. Wanton corruption and kleptocracy have plagued the national political discourse, and it appears politicians work for foreign interests, rather than national development. In June 2009, Dean Barrow said, "Because our laws recognize dual citizenship, how then will you turn around, recognizing dual citizenship, providing for dual citizenship, but impose a limitation on a dual citizen?" Dean Barrow used the Honorable Philip Goldson's words to highlight the need to connect with the diaspora.
I know that one of the things that you were also doing was developing relationship with Belizeans abroad. Could you tell us what was the reason for your attempt to develop and to sort of include Belizeans abroad in the political process?
Well, I believe and still believe that the Belizean nation should be treated as one, in particularly in view of the Guatemalan claim on Belize. I think, and also in the interest of economic development, as an economic development strategy. The Belizeans who came overseas have acquired skills and education and so on, which could be very useful to Belize as a whole.
However, in March 2019, Dean Barrow and his UDP administration voted no to a bill introduced by opposition member Kareem Musa that would have allowed the diaspora limited voting rights to vote in the ICJ referendum.
Madam Speaker, I rise to introduce a private member's bill pursuant to Standing Order 83 of the House of Representatives, and it is a bill to amend the Representation of People Act, Chapter 9 of the Substantive Laws of Belize, Revised Edition 2011, to provide the right to vote and register as electors in the Belize-Guatemala referendum to citizens of Belize living abroad, notwithstanding the failure to satisfy the 2-month continuous residence requirement, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
Right Honorable Dean Barrow.
Communications have changed substantially, where Belizeans at home and Belizeans living abroad now communicate daily via social media platforms and send remittances in a matter of seconds via a computer keystroke. Yet the government of Belize has been reluctant to bridge the gap or extend an olive branch. According to Alternative Worlds 2030, a study by the National Intelligence Council, migration is likely to become more globalized, as demand for both skilled and unskilled labor soars in traditional and new destination countries. For migrants, Belizeans now live all over the world, and offer a wide skill set that can assist with nation-building law, politics, business, art, media, engineering, medicine, healthcare, science, research, teaching, criminology, public administration, project management, city planning, highly skilled and unskilled laborers, in just about every profession. Recently, Dr. Bernard Bulwer indicated that he made the necessary connections with Harvard University to offer continuing studies through the University of Belize. However, the government of Belize never took up the opportunity. His story is one of hundreds of testimonials from Belizeans living abroad, trying to bring needed opportunities to Belize, only to have efforts ignored or rejected. In contrast, the Prime Minister of Barbados recognizes her country's small size in this global, geopolitical and corporate-driven world, and has restored full citizenship rights, and called home her diaspora, to contribute to the development of Barbados. Today the country of Belize faces many threats. Guatemala's aggressive attempts to gain Belizean territory, economic destabilization, climate change, banking de-risking, poverty, out-of-control crime and corruption. The government of Belize has reached out to other countries, venture capitalists, the World Bank, the IMF, OAS and now the ICJ for solutions, but continue to ignore their most powerful people power, the Belizean diaspora.